two dirty painters to multiple seven-figure business owners. I'm Redion.
And I'm Karmelo.
I'll be giving you guys the insider secrets to take your trades business to the next level.
From crazy stories to proven strategies, get ready to supercharge your business with us.
Welcome to the Dirty Painters Podcast.
Today's episode, we will be giving you our tips and tricks for dealing with customer price objections. We will teach you how to confidently price your service, effectively explain your value, and how to politely kill your customer with kindness. Let's get right into it. All right, so how do you confidently price your services?
Number one thing is believing in your product. That's number one thing. If you believe in your product, you can handle any sales objection that might arise. That's why I see a lot of times sales reps going to businesses that they have a shitty product and they're a killer sales rep and they'll crush it in the beginning. But once they see that the product they're selling is garbage, then their sales just drop. Starting, number one, have a product that you believe in that brings value to the customers.
The main factor that goes into putting, pricing out your services is knowing your costs and what it will take for you to complete this project. So a lot of repetition will give you a good idea on, hey, if I put this screw here, it's going to take this much. The material is going to be this range from this range. So that way you get your cost into an effect.
Pricing out right, and then also pricing the way to deliver the value that you're promising to deliver. You can, let's say, drop your price and then decrease the value. So that's why you have to know what Karmelo just said. You have to know what it costs, what your labor and material is to deliver a good quality product. That's those are the main things that you need to figure out before you even start getting any sales training or reading on how to handle objections. When you're presenting a price, what's the most important part? The most important part is explaining to the customer what they're paying for. And that's a technique that we like going back to, when the customer is like, oh, it's too high. And we're like, okay, let's sit down and break down why it is that price. And that's why you need good forms. Like our sales forms are killer. They break down everything, the scope of work, the pricing, why this costs much, all the extras, kind of like an itemized proposal. And when the main objection that we get is your price is too high arises, we're like, okay, let's sit down and look through this together again. And you explain to them. You don't explain to them, but you help them understand the cost, what it takes to get the job that they want to their expectations. Like, hey, for example, I was dealing with that the other day. I priced out an exterior. And then the lady goes like, oh, she told me you're $2,000 more expensive than the guy
the next bid.
So I'm like, okay, let's go back to the proposal I gave you and see. So I'm like, okay, number one, I'm pressure washing everything. Number two, I'm sealing all the stucco cracks, and then I'm going over and fixing these stucco repairs that are breaking down. Number two, I'm priming everything with a solid body primer. Locks on XP. I'm not using just a sealer that you can do the whole house with a gallon. I'm using actual primer, solid body, that you use the same amount of primer as you'd use for paint. And then after the primer cures, I come back and I do my first coat. Then after the first coat cures, I come back and then I do my second coat. So I'm like, you see, I'm spending extra 2 days than the other bid that's gonna do one coat of primer, one coat of top coat, and it's not doing any stucco repairs. So you're getting a better, I'm not saying you're getting a better value. I'm like, look how much more goes into my process. Look how much more material I'm using. I'm like, I can match that price if you want me to give you a 2-year warranty, and I'll just use, instead of Locks on XP solid body primer, I can just use the Locks on Sealer, which is literally like water. With 1 gallon, you can do 2,000 square feet. It stretches out so far. So I'm not saying, oh, why you think, I didn't get offended from the lady that was like, oh, why are you so much more expensive? I took a different position. I was like, let me be the educator and show this lady why my price is more expensive. And I went back on that's why it's important to have the nice forms so you can go back and you can start explaining them. Because that's the number one objection. Like me and Karmelo were talking about it, what are the main objections we get? We do everything else so well that the number one objections that we get, it's just like, hey, you're so much more expensive than anything else. So that's the one we have to handle all the time. going back, looping back on I explain to them how they get the value is our main way to handle that objection.
Yeah, I like how on this example, you never really got defensive and you just communicated your value and showcased why it should be that way. Because sometimes down here, people pressure wash and then in the next hour, they're already priming or painting even.
Exactly.
And that's not the proper way to do it.
No, the same day they'll pressure wash and then they'll start priming.
And then we explain it to them like, hey, we like to leave it a day for, the moisture to dissipate because stucco, it's a porous surface. It will absorb some of it.
I asked her a badass question. All right, so going back to the example. So the lady, I gave her the estimate. I was $4,200 for a 2-year warranty, $5,600 for a 5-year warranty, and $6,800 for a 10-year warranty. So I gave her the estimate. I did everything that I had to do, and then she ghosted me. So I wait 2 days before I follow up after I do an estimate. And then I sent her an estimate Friday, May 3rd. I'm like, good morning, checking to see if you'd like to add your exterior on the schedule or if you had any questions from the estimate that we did together. 2 days go by. She messaged me on Tuesday. She's like, hi, I'm just seeing your message. I'm still getting quotes at this time, and then I'm considering yours. So I'm like, okay, this lady already got my quotes. She had 2 more, so she's getting quotes. I'm like, okay. I respond immediately. I'm like, good morning. Where would you need to be for us to move forward and lock in the job today? I can help you with the price so you can stage a job and grab content for painting to use for our social media campaigns and marketing. Downselling example. And she goes, I have another quote for $2,000 cheaper right now. And my question, what I'm asking right after that, I'm not getting defensive. I'm like, oh, they probably do shitty work. They're probably going to use water to paint your house. Or I'm not getting defensive at all. I ask her, is getting a good quality job with high quality materials and sufficient code that's going to last you for years to come important to you? She's like, of course it is. And then I'm not bad mouthing the other painter. I'm like, then I explained to her. I go back to what you just said earlier. I help her put value into the numbers and understand why it costs that much. I'm like, then just from a material costing standpoint, the $2,000 cheaper price wouldn't be able to cover 50% of that cost. I don't think it would be able to satisfy those needs that you have. And then I'm like, I can do X amount cash price and stage a job to be able to help you get closer to where you need to be if we can schedule it for the next 2 weeks. Let me know. Call to action at the end. I gave her my new offer. I downsold ethically. I was like, I'll do this, cash discount, but also I'm going to stage the job to grab my social media content, my marketing, whatever I need to do to get the content. And then she hits me like, that sounds great. When can you add me on the schedule? Done.
Real life examples.
Done. And I posted this on my story. If you guys think I'm bullshitting, I was posting on my social media story the other day. I was like, hey, I'm going to get this lady. Boom. I didn't get defensive at all. I didn't get offended that she thought I was too expensive because I used to be like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm too expensive.
Who knows what the other guy will put on it?
Yeah, and then I would be like, oh, the other guys do a shit job. No, that didn't work at all. I went back. I'm like, okay, let me show this lady the value that I'm bringing in. Let me showcase that, hey, material cost is expensive. The amount of codes that we're going to do, the labor is expensive. Let me add value to my price. Also, I had a little bit of room to like give a cash discount, and then also we're gonna get the content from that job. She's fine with us staging and bringing, taking a little bit longer because we need to grab the content. So I downsold. I'm still giving a good quality product, phenomenal product. I'm still giving her the 10-year warranty, but I'm getting things in return, and we landed the job. And I was $2,000 more expensive than the other guy. I ended up being $1,500 more expensive because I gave her a cash discount price. So that's a prime example of like not getting offended and then going back to, because a lot of times people won't understand why it costs that much. That's the most important thing. Even with like rich people. We said before, rich people, they have the money to spend, but they don't want to spend it. They need to understand the value, why they're spending so much. And yeah, most importantly, communicate your value. Articulate the benefits of your service to showcase what the clients can expect. Very important. Okay, never ever get defensive. Always ask questions. So yeah, the question that I guys gave you, it's key. Always use that question that I asked the lady. I'm like, hey, is getting a good quality job that's going to last you important to you? And then most of the time people will be like, yes, it is. And then you can loop back and be like, this is what I'm going to do to make sure you're getting those needs satisfied. Downselling. We spent a whole episode on downselling ethically. So you guys can go back on that and see how we downsell and what we offer to our customers.
All right. And then how do we explain value when people compare prices? So obviously the first thing we do is that we compare the scope of work, like you mentioned earlier. And then sometimes customers may lie about it and say they're following the same processes. Example, this guy is doing it for $3,000 when the material cost alone for it is $3,000. So you really got to play that game with them on, oh, okay, but whatever they're doing, I'm going to show you why my price is this. Showcasing the warranties that give them peace of mind and our personal guarantee that comes with it. And then we discuss the samples because our color consultation, it's a great service that we offer, and then people love it because we provide them samples and we spend the time to go over colors that they might like or say, hey, these are the popular trends. And you can see it for yourself. I don't see the competition in our market, at least, going the extra mile to help figure out the colors for their customer's project.
Here's a little cheat code that you can do to increase your closing ratio. It's like a lot of people think out there, like the salespeople or the painting business owners, they don't need to know colors. But what's our business? We put colors on the walls, pretty much. That's what we do, right? We put colors. We work with colors. We help creating aesthetic spaces. So I think your responsibility as a painter, you need to know colors. Like, I don't know why a lot of people think it's extravagant. Like, oh, that's the designer's job. Or that's not my job. I'm just here to put the paint on the walls. No. If you want to have an advantage against your competitors, you need to understand colors. You need to be a color expert, not a designer. Do not think I'm saying like you have to go to design school. Just understand colors, understand trends. Like, oh, these are the warm whites. These are the cold whites. These are tools that you can have in your toolbox that can set you apart. For example, like Karmelo said, what we do is, and it's a great sequence to start our sales process. And it's going to minimize objections down the road. So we're giving value right away. The lead comes in. We'll use an exterior lead. Lead comes in. We reach out. We go through our pre-screening method. And we're like, hey, send us some pictures. Then we jump on the phone. We jump on the bracketing. We're like, hey, this project can cost anywhere from X amount to X amount. Is this something that you're willing to pay? And then if it's like, yeah, that's what I was expecting to be. Then we go and then like, okay, next process, we schedule a free color consultation. When you say free color consultation, you immediately giving value. Like, oh, these guys are going to come out and we're going to help them with colors. Because the biggest struggle that homeowners have is finding the right colors. And then immediately you just, from the process, you took a big pain from them. You're going to be an assistant. You're going to be a guide for them to find the right colors. So when you go there, you haven't really put a price on the project. You go there and you're like, okay, like Karmelo does it great. He has the color wheel with him. He opens up the colors, and then based on their he's like, do you like warm colors? Do you like cold tones? Do you like green tones? What do you like? And then Karmelo hasn't not gone to design school. He hasn't taken a design course. It's just based like, hey, let me read an article that Cheryl Williams put out. What are the top trending colors? What's the color of the year? Like all those things that they're free pieces of information out there that Cheryl Williams does. So based on the homeowner's responses, he'd be like, okay, if the homeowner likes warm whites, he's like, okay, Brick Villa will be a great selection for you. Or what's another one? White Dog.
Shoji White.
Or Shoji White. Those are great options for you. Or if she likes green undertones, like, oh, have you checked out Evergreen Fog? It was color of the year for 2022 or whatever. And then he pulls out the swatch. He hasn't discussed any price yet. No sales objections for now. So Karmelo is giving so much value to a homeowner that's indecisive on the colors and what's going to look right that she's building trust with him. She's like, okay, this guy knows his shit. And then that's how he initiates that sales process for an exterior or for cabinets, for interiors. We do it the other day in Clearwater. I was just filming some content with him, and then he did that with the lady. And we didn't even give her a price yet. And then he presented the price, and the lady goes like, okay, Karmelo, I trust you 100%. I just want to go with you. And then she went with his color selections and everything. Again, none of us have gone to design school. It's just being proactive and knowing colors pretty much.
Do your research, articulate the colors, undertones correctly. Yeah. And then something I will give out to you guys is look at the color formulas. So if there's like a drop of magenta or deep blue or whatever, be able to articulate those to your customer and tell them, hey, this has a drop of magenta, so you might see it in different lightings. If you're into that, sure. So yeah, be a color expert and don't really recommend colors. Just explain it to them.
Yeah. Don't be like, oh,
Go with this. This
Yeah.
is gonna look nice because if they don't like it, it falls on you.
Yeah, or don't be like, oh, that looks like shit. If that's the color they like, don't. Again, you're the color expert, meaning you explain the colors to them. You're there to guide them. You're not there to make the decisions for them.
Yeah, imagine you're a homeowner and let's say you're getting multiple quotes for that, and then one guy does this while the rest that follow, they don't really do it. In your head, you're thinking, well, he knew about colors. He's willing to do samples for me. These guys didn't even care about that.
That's another thing that I noticed, that one estimate went together, that I really like that you do. And I mean, I don't have the patience right now to deal with that shit. So, but Karmelo is really good at doing it. And I would, if I was to go back on the field and sell aggressively, I would really follow what he's doing. Before he even discusses any price, he really focuses on the colors. So he'll go through the whole colors. He'll help them understand. And then he'll be like, hey, if all looks well today, take notes. His question is, if all looks well today, we can schedule a second color consultation, which I'm going to come out with the colors that we picked, and I'm going to paint them up for you. So the closing question, if all goes well, so he's already implementing the idea to the person's mind, like, hey, if we agree on a price today, pretty much, I'm going to come out and do this for you. And then the owner's like, oh, that's great. And I'm telling you, the competition is not doing that. If you do this, what Karmelo just did with that lady that I was paying attention, I was just there shadowing, because we trying to like work on our sales process a little bit and then retweak a few things. I think if you just approach every estimate that you go into the way that he's approaching it, you're not gonna have many sales objection because you're giving so much value right off the bat. You're going there and discuss it. You know what? Also, who's good at this? Ito. Ito is really good at that. He goes in there and he's like, straight up talks colors with them. Doesn't even ask about prices. Like he doesn't discuss prices. He doesn't discuss budgets or anything. He gives value right away to colors and his expertise in colors, and then he identifies what colors they like, and then he moves on the sales process. And then Karmelo did that great. He's like, okay, we'll pick 5 colors from these ones that you chose. And the lady was being so indecisive, so he gave her guidance, like, I think this would look good. I think this would look good with your furniture or your paintings. And then we can pick up the real physical samples if all looks good well. And she's like, that sounds great. Boom, right there. Position yourself as an expert. Now it's time to sell. And then he goes, does all his process, prices out the job, points out drywall repairs, points out the water damage, and then puts his proposal together. And that's not a good example because the lady went with it. She's like, oh my God, that sounds all good. That sounds great. You addressed everything. You got help with colors. She closed on the spot. But let's say the lady didn't close. Let's say the lady was like, Karmelo, that all sounds so good, man, but like $8,000 is it's not what I'm willing to expend right now. Price objection. What will we do? We'll loop back. Karmelo will be like, okay, Mrs. Homeowner, I know it's more than what you're expecting to spend, but look at all the things I'm doing for you. He wouldn't say that, but he's like, look at all the process that has to go for you to get your end result. I have to go get the samples. I have to come do a second color consultation. We're going to have to do all these drywall repairs. We're going to have to do the prep work. We're going to have to cover all your expensive furniture, remove all your expensive artwork. And then you want the emerald on your walls, which is a pretty premium material. You know, it comes with a 5-year warranty against blistering, peeling, fading, and chalking. It's expensive paint. It's not cheap. It's like $100 a gallon. So he looped back. If the lady would give him the price objection, he would loop back and go over again all the value that we're giving here. And then the most important, a lot of people, a color consultation can cost you anywhere from $500 to $1,000 with a designer. And then I like saying that, like, if you hire a designer, their average hourly rate is like $400, anywhere from like $200 to $400. Plus, they're gonna charge you for the samples that they're gonna do for you. So you're looking anywhere from $500 to $1,000 if you want to hire a designer. So right there, I'm giving you $1,000 value for free by doing this for you.
And then another example, because I just closed this one yesterday, and the homeowner used this website or app called Havenly, which is basically like a third party where it connects people with designers. But the way they do their design meetings is through Zoom. And she spent around $250. And then as soon as I showcased her, hey, these are the colors. This is what I'm going to do for you free of charge. And it's like, oh, I wish I would have came to you sooner. I would have saved $250.
There you go.
And I don't even really like the colors they recommended because through a screen, you can't really do it.
Or even from a swatch. That's huge too. Like, you can't really tell what the color looks like from a swatch. It's going to look different on the wall. So, damn, $250 just for a Zoom meeting?
Yeah,
it's probably even more expensive to get a designer at your house.
I know. Well, that's what she paid, unfortunately, but yeah.
So you just gave her...
These are cost-saving methods that you can showcase to your client.
Yeah.
Hey, if you want to go to this website and ask for design consultations, feel free, but...
That's a good one to add. We can add that under the price conditioning. Be like, hey, it can cost you $500 to $1,000 to bring a designer here to do the samples, or you can go... We can use that website as a price conditioning term. Look, just to talk to somebody on Zoom to recommend some random colors, they can't even tell from the screen what the colors look like. It costs you $250. So I'm giving you so much value right off the bat. Like you're saving $1,000 by not having to bring a designer. That's a great way to handle that. We need to add that on our sales process. Take a note of the website. If the lady was to object Karmelo's price, we would go back and showcase the value that we're bringing to the table. Another sales objection, though, we don't get it all the time because, again, our floating schedule is a killer. It's a cheat code. But let's say customer was like, hey, Karmelo, everything sounds great, but your timeline is not meeting my needs. How would you handle that?
So I would say, hey, if you really want to do it, I don't know, let's say 2 weeks from now, I know my schedule doesn't allow me until 2 months, but if you're willing to pay a rush fee just so I can push one of my other projects, I'm willing to do that and reschedule my other project just to meet your timeline.
How do you explain the rush fee?
The rush fee, well, obviously I have to position guys there, so that's kind of throws off my schedule for a little bit. And the time that I spend with the customer that we're going to be pushing ahead to another slot is the rush fee explanation is what I would put it.
So what also, I like rush fees. But how I explain to the customer is like, hey, I can push you and I can reschedule a project. But what happens when I'm doing that, it increases the risk of the customer that I'm pushing canceling. So I have to return the deposit. I have to fill out their spot. So that margin, that like let's say 10% or 15% extra rush fee, it kind of covers the cost of restructuring the schedule and risking the potential of losing the customer and then having to increase my ad spend for the month to get a job to fill that spot. So those are the things that you can say a rush fee, but if you don't explain it, then you're going to seem like a slimy person that's trying to take advantage of the situation, which we're not. We're not taking advantage of anything. We're trying to provide a service, but also we don't want to hurt our business. We don't want to hurt our business by getting a cancellation, having to spend more marketing dollars, pushing our schedule, restructure. It takes time. Once you have things scheduled, the same way that if a customer cancels, changes things, it's the same way if you push something or if you cancel something and move it, it changes the whole dynamic of the schedule. And then we make sure we explain that to the customer. Hey, we can make it happen, but so we want to help you, but also we don't want to hurt our business. That's why we have this rush fee. That's a great way to put it. And to handle the timeline objections. Or if they can't wait, then I'm sorry, we're not a good fit for each other. Shit.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's like sometimes you can maneuver around the timeline objection. Sometimes you just can't. You can move things. Let's say I have a killer project starting Monday, and then I need to have all my guys there. I'm sorry, but like that project is my top priority. And you explain it to them. It's no hard feelings. That's why the pre-screening, you guys can go back to the 10-step sales process. Pre-screening is huge. Asking them like, hey, when are you looking to get this done by? That way, you're not wasting your time. You go there and like, oh, I need to start tomorrow. And like, oh my God, I didn't know you were going to start tomorrow. I can get to this in 3 weeks. That's why that's a very important. That pre-screening question is going to save you on getting the timeline objection. And it's going to filter out through those customers really fast. What's another objection that we get? The timeline.
The warranties.
The warranties, yeah.
Because we like to sell in packages. So package A is going to have, let's say, 5-year warranty. Package B has 7-year warranty. Package C has 10-year warranty. And the objection we get usually is, oh, so package A, you can't really guarantee it for 10 years. So at 5 years, it won't last me, is what they usually say.
That's what they say. And also another thing is like, oh, are you charging me for warranty? I'm like, no, lady, I'm not charging you for warranty. I'm not a car dealer. I'm not charging you for tires and wheels warranty that you probably never use. But when I'm each tier level, like packages, they have better quality materials. They have more codes. They have more prep work. So like the warranty, we can guarantee for longer because we know the product is going to last longer. It's not that we charge you for the warranty. It's because we charge you for the amount of labor and amount of materials and the quality of materials that we're using on that. And a lot of people, sometimes they don't understand it. So we have to make sure we handle that objection because they think we're just trying to be slimy and just make more money by charging them for warranties. No, we're not charging for warranties.
I really see that mostly on our cabinet projects, especially when they ask me, oh, why is this more years of warranty than that? Well, or why are you selling me this much more for a longer year? Well, I'm adding an extra coat, and the cost for this material for an extra gallon and an extra quart of hardener is this much, and then I also need an extra day for it. So that's the price difference. I'm not really giving you that extra year of warranty just so because you gave me more money.
Let's give our listeners a good example for cabinets. All right. Or you want to do exterior? What do you want to do, cabinets or exterior?
Let's do cabinets.
All right, so we have 4 tier levels for cabinets. We have bronze, silver, gold, platinum. All right? So the bronze will be like the dirt cheap one, which we're going to recommend to the people who are just trying to make a flip or they don't care really for the durability. So we'll use acrylic paint. We can even use Command. We can use the Emerald Urethane. We can use a 400 series. Something that's under $70 to $60 a gallon and doesn't require a hardener. And we'll use like, our vinyl sealer primer or a Pro Black Oil primer, something that's no more than $30 a gallon. And we explain to them, hey, these are entry level. They're not going to last you long. That's why we only warrant for a year. Then moving up, we'll introduce same primer, but we'll introduce a 1K product. 2K product, sorry. So we introduce a 2K product. We're like, hey, now on the silver package, you're getting a longer warranty, not because you're paying me more money, but you're paying more money for the extra coat of paint, and also the 2K product costs, like you said,
anywhere from 100 to 150, or sometimes even more depending on the product.
Yeah, plus you have the hardener, plus you have the curing time, plus you have a lot of things. You explained it. And then moving up to the gold package, now we took off the cheap primer that we use, our production primer, and we're using a 2K primer. So you get 2 catalyzed products, primer and top coat. And we do 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of top coat on each. Then the platinum, we do a clear protective coat, 2K natural look, which is going to add an extra coat of protection to the cabinets. So and then our forms are laid out that way that they break down each step, each product, and how many coats. That way they understand, like, hey, you're not paying for an extra warranty. You're paying for a better product, more coats, and then the clear coat, the clear protective coat. And it's the same for exteriors. With exteriors, we have bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Our entry-level exterior will use A100, which, if you're a painter, that's not... It's
Yeah, and our go-to line for our exteriors, too, is, look, all these packages, they all come with a primer coat, just so you know. But the primer coat on the gold and the platinum is higher tier than the bronze and the silver.
So the entry-level package for exteriors will use the clear sealer from Loxone, which, like we said before, 1 gallon can do like 2,000, 3,000 square feet because it stretches out so far. And then the A100, which is not the best exterior paint. And then we move up to solid body primer, super paint, 1-in-1. Then we move up to the gold package. We're like, okay, now we're doing 1 solid body primer, and we do 2 coats of duration. And then we have the Emerald Rain Refresh, which is the best exterior paint in our opinion out there. And we explain like, hey, each price goes up because you have more coats of primer, you have better quality material, you have more expensive stuff on your house.
Yeah, be able to articulately communicate the value, because one of our sales reps had this objection, and she kind of was like a deer in headlights. And I told him, hey, next time you get this, just explain it to them. Hey, I'm using this material. I'm using more time to refinish the kitchen. So it's not really, I'm giving you the years of warranty. I'm giving you this value.
Yep, exactly. You're paying for more value pretty much.
Yeah.
You can't go to McDonald's and expect to get a full meal for the burger price, right? You add the fries, you add the Coke, you add all these things. It's gonna be more expensive, correct?
That's correct.
So that was a good example too. Yeah, the lady thought we were trying to scam them.
Yeah.
Oh, you're charging more money for warranty. She's probably being scammed before from like car dealerships and stuff with the warranties.
Yeah. And then I think the last one is, which is not really a big one. Oh, you guys use Sherwin-Williams products? I really like Benjamin Moore, which is something easy to, answer to. Okay, which product do you really prefer? If they don't really know the product, you just compare, hey, this product is similar to this product that we use, so I can give you this price for this much. So that also goes back to knowing your pricing and adjusting depending on your needs.
So a lot of people think Benjamin Moore paint is better than Sherwin-Williams, which
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Benjamin Moore paint is so much more expensive for no friggin' reason. Plus, you have less stores to pick it up. So the convenience of having a Sherwin-Williams store close to every job that you're at outweighs anything else. But I strictly believe we've used all kinds of products. I'm just a big fan of Sherwin-Williams products. But when customers go like that, and like it's a good way to diffuse them. Like, oh, I want Benjamin Moore product. You ask them like, okay, which one do you want? And they have no answer. I'm like, Benjamin Moore paint has like 100 different lines, right? And it's just like they see all these blogs and they see all these people like, oh, Benjamin Moore, or like, oh my God, the biggest
Claire paints?
No, Fair and Ball.
Fair and Ball, all that.
I hate when customers reach out to me like, oh yeah, I only want to use Fair and Ball paint because it's the best. I'm like, based on who is the best? Like, oh, I read this forum and like I see everybody. I'm like, lady, Fair and Ball paint is the most garbage paint you can ever get, and it costs you $180 a gallon or something like that. I'm like, we're painters, we're applicators, we use materials every single day. And I'm gonna use as an example, it's been a year, so she will never listen to this podcast 100%. That historic Detroit home that we did.
That's the one I was thinking about too, and I was ready to bring it up.
So that lady, she was so sold from the marketing of Fair and Ball influencers that she was like, oh, that's the best paint. I want the best paint for my house. I'm like, lady, listen, it's going to cost you 3 times what normal products are going to cost. And then it's not going to be as good. I'm like, I can't offer you any warranty if I'm going to use Fair and Ball. She's like, I don't care. I trust the paint. I'm like, okay, we'll use fucking Fair and Ball for stairs and steps.
How'd that turn out?
So anyways, we sprayed, we did all our prep work the right way, the primer and all that. And we used this steps and stairs paint from Fair and Ball. And then that lady was adamant. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, I've used this paint before. It's not very durable. She's like, yeah, it's the best, washable. I'm like, okay. And black color. It was the Fair and Ball off black, which black, I'm sure you all know, it's a hard color to keep clean smudges. So anyways, I'm like, okay, oh shit, sign this. You're not expecting any warranty from this staircase, and we're good. She signed it. She's like, yeah, I trust the paint. I'm like, okay. We paint the stairway. We finish the job. I think like 4 days go by. And she calls us. She's like, oh, yeah, there's smudges on the steps. There's this. The paint is not. I'm like, lady, we literally told you that paint is not meant for that. And then that was a prime example. And from then, she's like kept arguing. She's like, oh, you guys didn't do this right. And you didn't do this. I'm like, no, it's not us. I'm like, if I would have used my normal products, your staircase would have been bulletproof. And she kept blaming us. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with you. Just you signed the no warranty thing. I knew this was going to happen. I told you this is going to happen because it's not good paint. I'm sorry. So if they bring those objections about paint and you're not confident in using those paints and you still want the project, from that project after that, I was like, if somebody hits me up and they want me to use Fair and Ball paint, I'm like, I'm out. I don't need you. I'm good. I'm going to move on to the next one. But if you need the project to add it on the schedule, be like, make sure you sign a disclaimer like, hey, I'm not warranting this paint. Or whatever paint. It might not be Fair and Ball, but it might be something else that you're not confident in warranting. That's why we're big fans of Sherwin-Williams. Every product that we warranty with Sherwin-Williams products, we stand behind it because we know it's going to work. Again, our personal guarantee and warranty doesn't mean that we want to go fix things. That's why we explain to the customer. Our goal is to never have to make a warranty claim. That's why we stand behind these products, because they're going to give us a peace of mind that we'll never have to come fix shit.
Yeah, but if it ever happens, just know it's, you have it there. It's like a fail-safe plan.
Yeah, and also the Sherwin-Williams reps, like shout out Danielle and Scott up in Michigan. Every time something, like we'll get a blistering, peeling, or something that will be falling under warranty, they were always there taking care of things. Free paint, covering labor, if it was a manufacturer error, if the product was faulty. Always.
And then Benjamin Moore, because we've had lots of experiences with them with, they had this try this new exterior paint. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, the ice cream place?
Yeah, it was having issues and all that. We told them, hey, we did everything right. We followed the process of this new product, and this is happening. Are you guys going to cover the cost for us to fix it and do it with Sherwin-Williams? Oh, yeah, let me see what I can do. It's been at least a year and a half, and we haven't really gotten anything, but we fixed the place.
Yeah, we fixed the place with Sherwin-Williams paint. Like, obviously we don't expect, it would be nice to get something in return for them passing us a shitty product, but that's why I'm not, and I explain to the customer, like, hey, if something goes wrong, we've had experiences with them, they don't stand behind the products, and it's just, it's a nightmare. That's why I'm like, I'd rather stick with the products I like, and we're dealing with this right now with the Benjamin Moore lady. She wanted us to strictly use Benjamin Moore for some doors and some stuff. I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. We have to use something different. She was very adamant, and I made her sign a disclaimer, like, I'm not warranting this. And now she's like, okay, it's chipping. I'm like, I told you it's gonna chip. I literally told you, let's not use this because it's gonna chip. I'm like, now you got paid. You want that? It's gonna be a change order. Always stand your ground, especially when you tell people up front, like, hey, when they give you like the materials objections. Tell them, like, hey, I've used this. That's my job. That's what I do every day. I paint. I know materials. And then give them that. And if they're still adamant, make them sign the disclaimer. I'm not warranting this product. And it's going to save you a lot of headaches.
Rude customers. It's a small percentage, but you'll get them, and you need to be prepared on how to deal with them. So something I would always recommend is you never stoop to the level where, they're kind of being insulting or condescending. You just always have to remain calm and professional and diffuse the situation. You try to find why they're so upset and what you can do to, satisfy them or find a compromise. Because some people, you can't really satisfy them, but you try to find a compromise.
So if a customer is being rude during the sales and estimating process, the main reason is because they think you're trying to scam them. That's the only reason. Because you gave them a price. They either feel like you're trying to scam them or you're trying to like steal money from them, which, like, lady, it's up to you if you want me to work for you or not. I'm not forcing you to work with me. But we get that a lot with when we shoot a high price. People like literally the other day I had a lady be like, oh, fuck you. That's crazy. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the heck, lady? I'm like, I didn't even respond to that. I just blocked her. Yeah, I gave her the prices for the cabinet. She's like, fuck you. Like, trying to like get rich from like, I'm like, sometimes it's not even worth dealing with those people because then you're going to get heated, then it's going to be back and forth, and then you're in the wrong too if you go back and forth with those kind of people. Anyways, I just blocked her. But a lot of times people think that you're trying to scam them. That's why, and how it happened with our rep the other day, it's important to be able to put value behind your numbers and showcase why you're charging X amount and why it takes that much to deliver the quality of the product that you're promising to deliver. Very rarely we get those rude customers, and usually we don't even bother explaining anything to them unless it's in person. Like the lady that DM'd me and I quote her virtually, I was not going to waste my time to sit there and explain to her, especially when she was like literally being rude like that. Sometimes it's better to just block them and move on. But if you're in person and they get passive aggressive in person, that's the best way to be like, hey, I'm not trying to steal money from you. That's why I have different options. You can go for the cheap option or you can go for the best option. It's up to you. It's simple enough, just like that. Yeah, like we say here, kill them with kindness. Don't get aggressive. Do not get offended. Because a lot of times, like when I was younger and I got started in this game, I'll get very offended when be like, oh, you're so expensive. I'm like, what? You don't know my value. You don't know my worth.
You don't know what I put into it.
Yeah.
You always want to leave a good impression leaving, even with people like that.
So even with those people, go back, do your process, lay out your scope of work in detail to avoid any misinterpretation. And then just be like, hey, either take it or leave it. I'm not forcing you. You don't have to go with me. That's what it costs for me to get the project done. These are the incentives I can offer you. If those don't work, then we're not a good fit for each other. And you're going to have a few of those. You're going to have a few of those bad apples that are going to come up with those sales objections. And again, if they're going to buy, they will buy. There's no like trick and like secret sales techniques that you have to force your customer to like. You don't want to deceive your customer to buy. You want them to buy because they like you, they like the value that you bring in, they like your product. You don't want to be deceiving customers, and you don't want to be working with those customers that you have to deceive to sell them a job. Keep that in mind, guys. That's why that's why we don't call ourselves hard closers. Like, we are soft closers. We're like, hey, if we're a good fit for each other, sure. We have a few techniques that, like, for example, like looping or showcasing the value, going back and doing all these things, reassuring, increasing trust, increasing value, increasing certainty. But we're not gonna sit there and try and deceive customers to buy. It's if you're trying to grow and have good customers, you don't want to be deceiving people, because if you deceive somebody and then they get after they sign up with you and then they're gonna be a pain in the ass customer, because they're gonna be second guessing their choices. Like, oh, this guy used this, he used this. Those customers, they're gonna be a pain in the ass, guaranteed.
I don't really have an example of a rude customer during a sales appointment. I've had rude customer examples for, when working for them, but do you have one during a sales appointment other than the fuck you one?
No, I've had hundreds of them during, like, virtual selling and all that, and I always do the same thing. If it's virtual selling, then I just either block them or ignore them. That's it. I'm not gonna sit there and argue with them. I'm not gonna sit there with somebody that's being rude to justify my value, my price. Either take it or leave it. Or if you're nice about it, you're like, oh, why are you so much more expensive than the other quote? If she approached me like that, I'll be like, oh, I would spend the time like, hey, do you have 5 minutes to jump on a call? I can explain to you why I'm more expensive. But if they're gonna approach me that way, in person, no, I can't think of an example.
Oh, I actually have one. I completely forgot about this. I think it was either a year ago or 2 years ago. It was an exterior sales appointment. And then I laid the numbers down, and then he asked me, oh, are you painting the house with gold? Which I found it funny, but I didn't laugh at the moment. But afterwards, I was, what do you mean? Oh, I had this guy. He said he was going to do it for this much. And then, okay, so he's really doing this and this, because just the cost of that material is going to be this much for me. I was transparent with him. So if he is willing to do it for that price with these materials, you're more than happy to go forward with them. I don't see how we would be a good fit for you if you can get the same amount of value from him.
Same quality of work. Same quality of work too.
Yeah.
Okay,
are you painting the house with gold?
I've had a few of those too.
Yeah.
So how I diffuse them, or like how I approach it, I'm like, wow, they can really do the same quality of work, same materials for that much. I'm like, that's great. I would definitely go with them too. I'm like, let me get their number too. I can definitely use them for, if they're charging that much, delivering this quality of work with the same materials. I'm like, that's a crazy deal to pass on. And I'm like, when I approach them like that, I'm sure they're like, oh shit, are they really gonna give me that? If this guy is like this, he's like, he would go with them too. And then that's a good way to diffuse those people. Like, oh, they give you like a little bit of attitude. Like the guy that Karmelo was like, oh, are you paying with gold? I'm like, no. I mean, a gallon of Emerald Rain Refresh is pretty much gold. We call it liquid gold. That stuff is expensive, guys.
Imagine painting like a 3,000 square foot house and you have to do 2 coats on it.
Yeah, that's $5,000 worth of materials easily, with a full coat of primer, full coat of Emerald Refresh,
and another
full coat of Emerald Rain Refresh. Like liquid gold. That's why I call it. That's why I tell my guys, please, guys, do not waste materials. A 5 gallon of Emerald costs like what, $300? Yeah, about $300.
No more.
Yeah, so it's liquid gold. Shit, probably more expensive than gold.
Buy Emerald Rain Refresh. Stockpile on it.
And then it comes down to like being transparent with your customer. Like, hey, this is my material cost. What do you want me to do? I can paint your house with cheap paint, or I can use cheaper products, but you're not gonna be satisfied, and then you'll have to repaint your house down the road. That's why, especially for exteriors, I use this line. It's called reoccurring investment for your exteriors. You have to. It's a curable deterioration item. You have to maintain it.
Depending on the product, this much.
Yeah, you have to maintain it. Like an exterior paint is not gonna last your lifetime. Every 5 to 7 years, you have to repaint your house so you don't get any structural damage like rotted wood, stucco failing, cracks, and all that. It's a curable deterioration. It has to stay up to maintenance. But what we can do is we can prolong that maintenance period with you not having to do it, for example, in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. So we present it as an investment. And then when you handle those objections like that, and you present your product as an investment and not having to do it very often, then they understand the value. If they don't have the common sense, like, hey, it's gonna cost me a little bit more money up front, but I won't have to do it again in 7 years versus, oh, it's gonna be cheaper now, but I'm gonna have to do it again in 3 years, then you don't wanna work with that customer. I think I would skip. Even if I was not busy, I'll be like, okay, I'd rather fucking sit home than work with this guy.
And always be prepared for these objections. I like to do repetitions of that if they ever ask for pricing, because sometimes they don't really mind the pricing, but they will do it just to test you and see if you're going to get defensive or if you're an expert in your field.
A lot of customers that we deal with, they're very smart because most of them are like business owners, like educated people. They're smart. So they're going to test like, oh, is that the best you can do? That's another objection that we get. Is that the best you can do? I did that the other day. I quoted a guy $7,500 for the exterior, and he's like, "Can you do it for 65?" I was like, "I can do it for 8,500." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay." I immediately ended the negotiations. Like, "I can do it for 85," and he's like, "Okay, never mind." But a lot of times, customers will test you and be like, hey, "Is that the best you can do?" And then they're pretty much sold, but they want to see if they can like beat you or if they can get a better deal. I'm like, "Yeah, that's the best I can do, man, to deliver the same quality of product that you're expecting, with the warranties, the quality of materials. Unfortunately, I don't have any corners to cut, and I don't like cutting corners. I'd rather not take the project than cut corners." And then those projects always close. It's usually the smart business owner customers that they like, they're into sales or they trying to like, "Oh, is that the best you can do?" And then that's the best way to handle that objection. Because if you drop your price, then it's gonna be a never-ending game of negotiating with them. Like, "Oh, how about this much? How about this?" I'm like, "No, I'm done."
Yeah.
That's why the best way is like, hey, if they say, "Can you do it for less?" I'm like, "Okay, I can do it for more." And then that usually ends it right there.
Yeah, I should start implementing that because a lot of people do that to me because I look younger.
Yeah.
So they're trying to test me.
No, do it. I'm telling you, the guy's like, "Okay, never mind, man, let's do it. When can we get on the schedule?" That's a great way to diffuse this kind of customers.
Objection.
Yeah. I can't think of any other objections that we get.
I think those are the main ones. You can't really object to anything else.
Yeah, price, timelines, materials. I don't like you said, going back to the lady, I don't like when customers pretend they're experts because they read a blog or they read an article or they saw an influencer using a certain kind of material. Like, you're not the expert. That's why you called me. If you didn't need me, then you'd be painting the house yourself. So that's one that gets me heated. When customers try and pretend that they know more than we do. And again, we don't know everything, but we've had so much trial and error with materials that even if we don't know anything, we have the experience of like, hey, this works and this not. Those will be some great tools to add into your sales appointments, sales estimates, that they can help you handle those objections the way that we handle them. And then at the end of the day, it's like I said, if they're not gonna buy, they're not gonna buy. So you're not gonna spend a lot of time trying to accommodate them and bend over backwards to or try to come up with sales tricks to deceive them to get the sale. No, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be that kind of salesperson.
Yeah, some customers, they're not just qualifying you, you're also qualifying them.
Oh, that's huge. What Karmelo just said, you qualifying the customers that you want to work with, even at the beginning stages. That even if you don't have a lot of work, still maintain respect yourself pretty much. If you're gonna be there, somebody that's rude and disrespecting you just because you have to pay your bills, go do some more outreach, get some more free leads, and then find somebody that's gonna appreciate you being there. If you're gonna work for somebody that they're gonna take advantage of you, and we've done that in the beginning. We did that a lot, and then I was like, we got a few of those bad apples, and I was like, what, screw this. I'd rather stay at home.
They're the biggest pain in the ass to collect too.
Yeah,
those people. So are you willing to go through those headaches just so you can stay busy?
Yeah.
See, are you willing to take it? Sure. If you really need it.
But like me at the point,
if you don't, no.
Once I saved up a couple $1,000s in my bank account, I was Karmelo, fuck it. I'd rather stay at home and deal with those customers. And then, God provides and you get the better customers. But you don't need those headaches. And like Karmelo said, it's a pain in the ass to collect too. Like those people will fucking milk you for your last dollar. And then they're like, oh, you missed a spot here and you missed a spot here and you're going to come back. And I'm like, oh my God, I went through all this too. And at the end, you don't make money on those projects. At the end, you don't make any real money. Like your profit margins gets
diminished. And then once you put your operational costs and your overhead, it's
Plus, how much is your like mental health worth? Like,
Yeah.
like fuck it. Like, I don't care about dealing with you, lady.
Especially when you go to bed and you think, oh, I have to deal with them tomorrow.
Yeah, that's another.
You don't go to sleep at night.
Filter your customers, guys. It's like sometimes they're not a good fit. Let somebody else deal with those headaches. All right, I think that wraps up all the sales objections that we handle. I can't think of anything else that we do on our day to day. This is like from real life experiences too. Like, it's not we went on a sales course and this is what we deal with every day. So these are like real life battle tested objections that we handle our way that we handle. Anything else that you'd like to add on?
So something that I usually get is, do you want to talk when they say, oh, do you guys use subcontractors? Or do you use in-house guys? Is that an objection, you think?
That can be an objection.
Okay.
Like, oh, do you sub out your work? Who does the work? And you explain to them, like, hey, like, we tell them the truth. If I was subbing out jobs, I would tell them, like, yeah, I'm using a sub for this. Like, when I do tile work, I'm like, yeah, I'm using a subcontractor that follows the same
Standard operating
procedures, has the same ethics and morals that a company follows. It's all about being honest and transparent. If I was using subs for painting, I would tell them, yeah, I'm using subs. Or I explain how our process works. We have in-house guys. We train them. We spend our time showing them the process. Everybody follows the same procedures. So if we have crew A and crew B and crew C, whichever crew you get, you're going to get the same quality of work. We always monitor them. Our guys are performance pay, so we don't have hourly employees that they're going to come here and just not care about your project. They get paid based on performance and quality of work. So I explain to those things. If I was using subs, I'll be like, hey, yeah, I'm using subs. That's it. Or for other service that we offer, we do use subs. I don't have guys full-time doing tile. We don't have we'll get the occasional tile jobs or we'll get the occasional carpentry jobs. I don't have full-time. We're not a carpentry or a tile company. We're a painting company. That we offer those services complementary to whatever we do. And we explain it like, hey, we don't have full-time guys. This is not our main job. We just have a great subcontractor network that can assist you with that.
How I like to explain it is all of the guys are trained under a standard operating procedures, which is true, even for our subcontractors. Yeah. So they follow the same steps.
And same ethics and morals. Like
clean cuts,
no drugs, no smoking, no foul language, whatever our rules are. So very important. Just be honest with your customer. If you're using subs, tell them like, yeah, I have very successful consulting clients that they use subs, and then I just tell them like, hey, do it. Tell them I have subs that follow the procedures, and then that's how my business operates. Don't lie. I think that's the number one thing. Don't lie. Be honest.
Communicate.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this will wrap up this episode of the Dirty Painters podcast.
Be sure to follow our business on Instagram at Olympian Painting and also our personal pages, Olympian_Redion, Olympian_Karmelo, and also keep up with the episodes on the Dirty Painters podcast.
If you like this episode, be sure to share with a fellow painter or tradie. Until next time, this is Redion.
And I'm Carmelo.
Signing off from Dirty Painters podcast.
Adios.
Thank you, guys.